Tell me if yours looks good. I'll start mine.
All right. I'm live on mine, I think. Let me just double check. Sorry, guys, we had some technical difficulties with my camera, of all things.
So mine says connecting stream software to start preview. So I guess it's working.
It's connecting, yeah.
Okay, still connecting.
Yep.
Just doing something.
Yeah. Let's just wait a second here, make sure everything is connected.
Oh, the Instagram. The Instagram one looks hilarious because
Because it's small.
it's like side to side, but on
Yeah,
Instagram it's streaming like vertical.
I got you.
Damn.
Okay,
Maybe
so I think it's
and
okay though. If someone's
no,
gonna watch.
no one can see us. It's like
Oh,
no, neither of our faces are in the screen.
oh, that's weird. Okay, so maybe we should
Yep.
stop that.
Well, can you change your picture and my picture or no? Can you put them on top of each other?
Let me see. Maybe.
Okay. Yeah, chuck them on top of each other. Let me see what it looks like on Instagram.
All right.
Because right now, not a good viewing experience, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Because right now, I can see your viewing experience. Let me see my
Okay.
shirt, side of my shirt.
Okay. Let me see if I could change to gallery. Gallery. No, that doesn't work. Oh, that switched us around though. No, I
They
can't.
moved us?
I can't.
Okay,
Yeah.
you can't.
But it actually
Okay.
looks better because I'm looking this way and you're looking that way, so it looks like we're looking at each
Okay.
other.
Okay. So my Instagram, I'm just going to close it because it looks really bad.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's better just not to.
But my YouTube says still connecting.
Okay. Oh, really? Okay, so it's not
Yeah.
working.
It's like connect streaming software to start preview.
Connect streaming software to start preview. So you're going to have to do it on your end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to do OBS as well then, I guess.
Okay. For some reason, I can't see my chat. It's okay. Now I can. All right. So for those of you watching, sorry for the delay. We had technical difficulties. We're continuing with the technical difficulties. We haven't resolved them. This is not my normal camera. This is my other camera, which is less quality, but it still looks all right. It's still fine. Because my other camera decided not to work today.
Better than nothing, eh?
Yeah, it's better than nothing. As
Okay.
long as the audio is good. Yeah, you're just going to have to go live through OBS.
Okay. I'm okay. I have to add.
All right, so guys, for those of you that are joining right now on my channel, today's topic is going to be frequently asked questions about living in Medellin, Colombia. It's something that we go through pretty much every day because we do have the Medellin Masterclass. We help a lot of people move down here. So we have a list of a lot of questions that people frequently ask about, moving down here, life in Medellin. Whether it's a visa question, whether it's a neighborhood question, whether it's a budget question, banking. There's so many questions that the masterclass actually answers a lot of them, but we've noticed that a lot of people have extra questions, more in-depth questions. That's why our community is so great because everybody kind of answers each other's questions on there. So we picked some of the best questions, or I guess some of the most frequently asked questions about living down here. And we're going to be answering those. And if you've got questions as well, we will definitely do it and answer it for you to the best of our abilities. Remember, we're not attorneys or tax accountants or anything like that. So we'll answer to the best of our abilities. What's up, Matt Hardrick? That's just a sign for us to get ready for a drink. at La Leyenda. All right, so we're waiting for AK to get his
Yeah,
stream
yeah,
up.
yeah. Keep going without me. I'm figuring this out as we go. Yeah.
Okay, no worries. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, we will answer it. One of the things that we've learned from the master class is that, and then helping people, even if just our friends, from back in the day. I mean, I've been here 15 years, and I've helped many people just make the transition from the United States or the UK over to Colombia. Over the years, we've had a ton of, I guess, trials and tribulations with people and even ourselves through our journeys of living here. So we'll definitely be going over that and answering those questions. I think it's important to answer these questions because a lot of people, when you visit Medellin, you're kind of in a honeymoon stage, right? You're on vacation. You don't, and then once you actually decide, okay, I'm going to move here. I have a perfect example. This guy that watches our channel, and he moved to Medellin like 2 months ago, and I saw him when he first got here. His first week here, I met him. I saw him at a coffee shop, and he was working from his computer. He said hello. He said, "Hey, I watch your channel. You helped me a lot to move down here, etc." Great information. I love it. He was living right here in Patio Bonito, or in Manila, I believe, for that like first couple of weeks, and then he bought an apartment in Laureles, and he has had the worst time buying that apartment, and horrible kind of experience because he wasn't prepared for what Colombia is, especially when it comes to doing business, especially when it comes to real estate. And on top of that, he's like, the women's situation was another thing that he's been dealing with, where he just can't get it. He was not prepared for the culture clash of dating here compared to the United States. He feels like he's a human ATM machine. And so we'll go over all of those questions, all of that stuff that we've had happen to people that we've known, and also happened to us personally as we get started here. We're still waiting for AK to get his stream up on his channel. This is the first time that we do a collab stream like this, from where he's in his apartment in Laureles and I'm in my apartment in Barrio Manila over here in El Poblado, and we're doing a Zoom call. But for some reason, I couldn't get his stream started through my streaming software. It happened before too. It's not like the first time it happened to us. But today was extra special because my camera decided not to work. But anyway, I see people are joining. We've got a few people watching. Thank you guys for joining. We'll get started with the actual questions here in a second. It is 7:18 p.m. on a Friday night in Medellin, Colombia. It's the 11th of October of 2024. This year is almost over. And maybe we'll reflect on this year too with AK here, because a lot of things have happened in both of our lives. And it's mostly been great. It's been really good stuff. So the year's not over yet, but it would be amazing to, oh yeah, Oni says you guys can do a live while exploring Medellin streets. Yeah, see, the problem with that is the quality. The quality when you go live and you're using like the data on your cell phone, it's not the highest, especially if you're walking around. It's really hard to do that. But perhaps we could do one like at like an outdoor location where we're standing still and just talking to the camera. That would be awesome too. But like walking around, I've tried it and I've done it. If you've seen my other live streams, and the quality is just degraded because you're using a cell phone to go live, and the data on your cell phone to go live, and it kind of stinks.
All right. I think I'm good.
You're good? You're live? Let's go!
I'm going to do... No, I clicked go live. It's broadcasting.
Okay. Should I check your channel? Let's see.
Yep.
What's your channel name? I'm just kidding.
All right, I think it's doing something.
It's doing something. Uh-oh.
Are you looking?
I'm going there right now. Hold on.
Okay. Let me
Let's
check on
see.
mine as well.
It says you're live.
Okay.
Let's see.
Hopefully I'm showing something good and not bad.
Let's see. Of course, I gotta. Oh, there we go. All right. Let's see. It looks like you are live. Yes. All right. We are live.
All right. Is it showing us?
Yes, it's showing us, and it looks
Yes.
perfect. It looks great. It actually
Oh,
looks good. It looks
nice.
good, despite the fact that I'm using a webcam instead of my regular DSLR because of technical difficulties, but that's okay.
Here's what it is.
Yes, we are
That's
live.
all we have. Let's do it. All right.
All right. Drone Man says, Andrew, I'm in West Palm Beach in the Tesla supercharger pumping electrons and watching the stream. No way. This is the first time someone's watched me in a Tesla, I think.
Guys, before we start, one thing that we need to do, sound check. Because
Sound
remember
check.
that time we did a whole live for like 2 hours, Andy, and then the volume was like 1 out of 10?
Yeah, let me.
No one told us.
Let me check. Okay, I'm
Guys,
checking.
can you hear us all right? Is
All
it
right,
too
so
loud,
guys-
too soft? Let us know.
Yeah.
If there's any bad audio later, we're going to blame you all.
Over that. Yeah,
Bad audio later, we're going to blame you all.
Over that. Yeah,
Bad audio later, we're going to blame you all.
Over
I'm
that.
getting no comments on mine. What about you, Andy?
Yeah.
Anyone say anything
I'm
about
good
it?
on my end. It looks like it says it's sound is okay, and naturally
Okay.
Nami says it's perfect. Drone Man gave us $4.99. Let's go, Drone Man. That's going to help
Okay.
Colombia.
Let's do it.
Can hear you fine.
All right, Andy.
Cool. Let's
I know
get
you
started.
got something prepared. Tell me, what are we diving into first,
Yeah.
brother?
So today's episode, we are talking about the most frequently asked questions that we get about moving to Medellin, Colombia. As you know, both AK and I, we are partners in the Medellin Masterclass. We've helped, over 40 people now transition to Colombia, to Medellin. Over 40 people have taken the Masterclass. We never thought that many people would be joining, so quickly, right? We thought, we'd get like a couple and we'd have a close-knit group. Now it's a big group, and a lot of people are coming down to Medellin. And a lot of people have seen value in the Medellin Masterclass. So we wanted to share some of the most frequently asked questions that people have when they start relocating. Because it's one thing to come here and visit, or even just an extended visit, like a month or 2 months out of the year, and then you go back home. But when you actually call this home, that transition can be a little difficult, right, AK?
Yeah, definitely. Like I've been to many countries, like over 40, and it's fine to travel for a couple of months or even a couple of weeks. But then, yeah, in some of those other countries, I never even thought about all the work that would go into if I wanted to actually live there, like I'm going to, for example, Japan would probably be a good example, because I'm going there. I don't know really anything about the culture. I don't know anything about the language. I don't even speak one word. And then I'm only visiting for 3 weeks, but if I wanted to go and live there, then where would I start?
Yeah, exactly. So the frequently asked questions, we can start through topics, because I've got a few.
Yeah, sure.
So let's talk about the before you even get to Colombia, right? The questions that we get from guys and gals or couples or families now that are moving down here that we're helping relocate, when they are in the United States or in the UK, but particularly the United States, when they're there and they're working to get over to Colombia or to Medellin, the top questions. So one of the questions about moving down here is keeping their phone line, which is a very regular, and we answered this in the master class, but it still wasn't clear for a lot of people. AK, when you're talking about keeping your phone line from the United States, is it a good idea to keep the phone line? And if it is, how do you keep your phone line and still use it while down here?
I think some people need their phone line, right? If you're in Medellin and you're running a business in the US, maybe a sales business or something, and you're making constant calls, you probably need to keep your phone number so that your clients are going to recognize and they're going to answer it, because it's a US number calling them rather than like a Colombian number, which sometimes maybe get flagged for spam or something like that. So that's one big reason why many people ask to keep their numbers. And I think the best option so far is something that you actually have, Andrew, which is Magic Jack. Would that be the best option to keep your number?
Yeah, well, I don't know if they actually port your number, the number that you had before. The most recent example are my parents that came down here. They have a Verizon family plan. They were able to add international calling and texting for like $10. So they're able
Okay.
to keep their US. They don't use it. They only use it to like verify like bank accounts and stuff like that to do the two-factor authentication. I've used Magic Jack for the last like 15 years or more, and that works fine for me. So if anybody has another option out there with another carrier, I know Verizon has that family plan plus $10 or something like that for unlimited international calling or whatever while you're outside of the United States. Um, that's what my parents use. But you're right. A lot of people do need to keep it. But if you don't
So
need to keep it,
your Magic Jack, is that like it gives you a brand new phone number?
it does give you a brand new phone number. And it's
Yeah.
voice
So
over IP. So a lot of
gotcha. It uses
the
the internet rather than calling. Yeah.
and yeah, and you use the internet.
Yeah.
So a lot of the verification services for banks and stuff, I can't use with the Magic Jack if they only have an option to text. But the good
Yeah.
thing is
Gotcha.
that all of my banking now, like for example, I have Bank of America, they give me the option, do you want us to just call you? So when they call, that works perfectly. But if it were a
Yeah.
text, the text wouldn't go through. And that was happening in the past, but now everything is fine with the Magic Jack. So Magic Jack has been like a
Skype
lifesaver for
too.
me.
You can do it on Skype as well. I have a US number which receives calls and text messages from Skype.
Okay.
Pretty cheap too. Yeah. It's like a monthly plan, maybe like $10 a month or something like that.
Okay, cool. Now moving on from phone numbers and stuff. Oh, Sean Riley says try Google Fi. It worked in Peru for him.
What is that?
Google Fi. It's like a phone service by Google.
Okay, same as like Skype or anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Google
But going
Fi.
back to what you said about the porting the number, that's probably the only way is as you said, because I've had, a few mates come over here and they just tack on like a little plan to their
Yeah.
US account, which is like $10 a month or something. But, it can be pretty expensive if you're just living here full time because you got to pay for the US plan, which might be 30, $40 a month. Plus
Yeah.
you do the extra, which is like another 10. So,
Yeah, it could be expensive. Yeah.
but sometimes you just need it for business. You can't really get around it.
Drone Man says that Ring Central offers all services while international, including text. Okay,
Okay.
so Ring Central. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that. Okay, another question that people ask is, what am I going to do about my mail in the United States when I'm in Colombia? Because you're still probably going to be getting mail somewhere in the United States. What would be a good solution for that?
Well, there's actually a few different virtual mailboxes. There's like many companies that offer this. What happens is you get a plan with them. You send your mail to their address, registered address. And what they'll do is they'll actually scan it and they'll email it to you. So you can still
Yeah.
get all your mail.
I have that service because we have an S corporation in the United States, and we have an address in the United States where we get our mail. So our it's forwarded to a mail forwarder or whatever, and yeah, it's great because they scan everything and then they throw away what you want to throw away. And if you want to keep something, they can forward that to, like, for example, my sister's address or somebody's address in the United States that can hold it for you, or
Yeah.
a freight forwarder or maybe like a FedEx or UPS or whatever that can send me entrega that can bring it over here.
Yeah. Why on the topic of that, you just rose something in my brain. That's
I
might
rose
be very
something in your brain.
rose something in my brain. Yeah, might be useful for people. And I just thought of this, and I went through doing this for all my services yesterday. When you do two-factor authentication that you
Yeah.
said before,
Yeah.
and you might have your phone number set up for two-factor authentication.
Yeah.
So right now I have my Colombian number set up for all this stuff, like
Okay.
all my banking and everything.
Right.
But next week, obviously, I'm traveling. I'm going to be away for 4 months.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So I can't get the text message, and then they'll lock me out of my accounts, and I have to sit there and call and do all that. So a good piece of advice for everyone: if you're not going to be using your US number when you come to Medellin, make sure you log in and you change all those two-factor authentications for your banking, Google, Facebook,
Oh, yeah.
all those accounts. Change it to the Google Authenticator. It's an app that's on your phone, which gives you like these codes which time out after about 2-3 minutes, and that's how you get in, and you don't have to rely on your text messages. That's a big one because that can really be very irritating, especially if you're trying to log in your bank, pay for something at a restaurant, or pay for something you need to, you run out of money, you're trying to log in. And, I've been
Yeah.
there before, so it's a good tip.
Yeah, that would suck. Okay, moving on to another question. Another question that surprised me that we got a lot of, or that we get a
Okay.
lot of, is how do I bring my pet over? Because we didn't go over that in the master class per se, because we didn't anticipate people wanting to come here with their pets, because both of us don't have pets. Oh, you have a cat, do you?
2 cats, yeah.
You have cats, yeah. So you'd have to
Hmm.
bring your cat. So how do you bring a pet over to Colombia? Is it difficult?
I don't know. Do you?
No. Well, according to remember Dave did it in the master
Yeah,
class.
yeah, yeah. What did he say?
Well, he had to go to the vet, and he
I
had to
think it was
get
difficult. Like, not.
yeah.
I think it was a lot of
It was a
steps.
process,
Complicated
yeah.
process, exactly.
Yeah, they have to get certain shots, and then they have to get documentation from a veterinarian,
Hmm.
and then it's about like how you're going to bring him into the country, like fly him over here. Is he going to
Yeah.
be in a crate, or can he actually go as a comfort dog or whatever, emotional
Service
comfort
dog,
dog, service
emotional.
dog?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, emotional support dog or cat or animal or whatever. Can
Hmm.
they go? And it also depends on the airline, so it can get a little complicated. Uh,
Definitely.
yeah,
But it's a great place to have your pets here, like especially dogs, because you always talk about it in your videos that every restaurant and cafe and stuff you go to, it's super, super pet friendly here.
yeah.
I'm not sure if that's the case in other parts of the world, is it? Do they let pets in everywhere usually?
No, like in Southern California, it's very rare that you can bring a dog into like a sit down restaurant.
Okay.
It's like it's I don't know. You guys answer me where you're in the United States. If you go, let's even think of like a lower level or mid tier like restaurant like Applebee's or a Chili's. Can you bring your dog into the Applebee's or the Chili's here in Colombia? You could pretty much go into pretty much almost all restaurants with
Everywhere.
your pets,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the
I've
malls.
seen I've seen nice restaurants and people sitting there with their 2 dogs and just having a dinner.
Sometimes, yeah. All you see, sometimes you just see the pets there with no humans.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, so yeah, that was going to be the next question after this one is how pet friendly is Medellin, and
Yeah.
you just answered that. Um,
Extremely.
yeah, pet friendly central here. Like in the in
Hmm.
the in the in the malls, they have like little pet zones where they're like little grass patches where they can pee and poo, and they've got like the baggies and stuff, which is kind of cool. Okay,
What do
so
we got next on the list,
well,
Andy?
Brun says only if the dog was a service dog can he go in. Okay, yeah, that's like in the actual airplane.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
I
go
got a
ahead.
question here.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Matthew Thomas says, "What's been your experience with Mercado Libre versus Amazon? Have you used both of
Oh,
these services?"
I have used both of them, and Mercado Libre can be a little dodgy. Mercado Libre is kind of like a Craigslist on steroids, I would say.
Hmm.
If you guys remember Craigslist, does Craigslist still exist? I don't even know. But
I think so.
but remember, anybody could put up anything on Craigslist for sale, and it's not vetted, it's not really checked or whatever. It's kind of
Hmm.
like that with Mercado Libre, but Mercado Libre you have pictures. It could have like a profile of the person that's selling it, etc. But you're still dealing with someone that might not be a professional or someone that might not be completely honest.
Yeah.
So people have been scammed. I've never been scammed, but I've only bought small things. Like for
Hmm.
example, I needed like a back support for my chair, so I bought that there, and it came to my literally within the hour. It came to my door.
Wow,
So
it's that
yeah,
fast?
Mercado Libre is really fast. Like for
Okay.
example, my baby needed like a new binky or pacifier,
Hmm.
and we couldn't find it on Rappi, and we found it on Mercado Libre, and again, it came right to the door. It's the same
Yeah.
thing. People here use Instagram a lot too for shopping. Like
Okay.
for my baby, Manuela she'll be on like Instagram on baby pages from Medellin for clothes, and she'll be like, "Oh, I want to buy this clothes," and we'll buy it, and it comes like the next day to the door, which is pretty awesome. So
That's a benefit of some of these things like Mercado Libre because they have sellers in Colombia. You can
yeah,
get the stuff a lot quicker. Whereas Amazon usually will take you about a week. Well, for
yeah,
me, anything I've ordered, usually the good stuff comes from the US. They don't really have that much stuff in Colombia. So yeah, it's about 6, 7 days.
yeah, like pretty much everything that you see here. Well, not the decoration, like this console, uh,
Yeah.
the guitar rack, these soundproof panels and stuff. This microphone, this arm, the lights. the stands, the monitor stands, everything I've ordered from Amazon. Nothing was sourced locally.
The only problem with Amazon is the $200 import limit, because if you import anything that's valued over $200, you're basically paying double in tax.
Right.
Whereas if you go to Mercado Libre and you get it from within the country, then you're not paying that import tax.
Exactly.
Well, they probably already paid the import tax on their end. But
so it's going to be like overpriced.
you're probably
a little
paying
bit.
it one way or the other. Yeah, a little bit, but maybe not as bad as directly paying the tax yourself, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, I've bought a lot of things on Amazon, especially for like the setup and stuff. So I've always had a great experience with that. Okay, the last question that before you get to Medellin, which is an important question, is dealing with your banking. One question was that because in the masterclass we tell everybody, and you probably already know this if you watched our videos, that the best bank account that we usually recommend is Charles Schwab, because they reimbursed all of your international fees, but not everybody can get a Charles Schwab account.
Only Americans.
Yeah. So what is another option? So I found out that Capital One has a checking that also reimburses ATM fees. So if you want to check out Capital One's checking, that's great, because I actually got it. Because in the last live, someone mentioned it, and I went and did the research, and it's true.
That's probably only for U.S. citizens too, though, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. International, I don't know.
Yeah. So what's the problem we're trying to solve, Andy? ATM fees?
ATM fees, yeah. ATM fees.
Well, I know that there's a product called Wise. Like, we talk about this a lot on our channel as well.
Yeah.
Wise is basically a money transfer service, but they released a while ago a debit card. I just got it, actually. I would show you, but it's in the other room.
Okay.
I got it for my travels. What you can do is you can load it up with a local currency, obviously Colombian pesos.
Right.
And there's no international transaction fee or anything because you're using the local currency.
Yeah.
And also, it reimburses your ATM. Like, there's no ATM charge from the card.
Yeah.
For like up to 250 or $200 per month. So not unlimited, not as good as Charles Schwab, but good enough if you're from a different country where you can't get the Charles Schwab account.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Sean Riley says Fidelity Investments. Okay. Fidelity Investments. Oni says I have been using Wise over a year and used it in Colombia while traveling. Great service. Yeah.
So good. Love it.
Wise is great. Devon's Keaton asks, oh, by the way, Squishy Plum, thank you for the dono. Appreciate it. Hello. Devon's asks, I'll be coming to Medellin in April. What can we do if it's 17 guys? And we're having a guys trip. That's a lot of guys. How do you get 17 people like coordinated to go international? That's pretty cool. That's a feat.
That's like a full football team.
Yeah, that's like
plus more.
You could come and play football. Yeah, what can you do? You could do a lot of things. There's so many touristy things to do in the city, like going to Comuna 13, going to Guatapé. You're going to have to get a bus, but that's all arrangeable.
Wouldn't you just do the same things that everyone else does?
Yeah, you do the same touristy stuff that everybody does.
It's nothing that different, right?
Yeah, it's not, and the question would be is like, do you get a hotel room or hotel rooms? Okay. Or
you can get
Airbnb?
You can get amazing penthouse Airbnb with like, how many bedrooms you need? 17 bedrooms for that. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of
you probably have to stay. You probably have to stay in a hotel. There's I never seen a 17 bedroom apartment, house or Airbnb anywhere. So
wow, yeah, that's
hotel. It is.
Yeah, that's
they can rent a whole hotel. Probably
you could probably rent a whole hotel with 17 people.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, we already have an Airbnb? Wow. Okay, so it's probably like a big house, house.
Hold up. One Airbnb, all of you, are you sharing beds? And
it could be a big house, like in Las Palmas. Like it could be a big house
with 17 beds.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to see that.
Mansions
That looks interesting, man. Crazy.
Yeah.
I got another question.
Yeah.
So Melbourne Plane Spotter. Melbourne, let's go. He says, is the wealth tax in Colombia something you need to worry about? So if you guys don't know you should know because you should have watched my last video, all about tax. 20 minutes, I answer every single question about tax. So if you don't want to spend all your money on tax and you want to know how much you need to declare, if you need to pay, go and watch that video. But to summarize, the wealth tax is something that Colombia automatically taxes you if you have a net worth of above a certain amount, right? I don't think do they have this in the United States, Andrew?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay, so they have that here. Is it something you need to worry about? Well, if you're over this amount, I think it might be like 600,000 USD is your wealth. If you're above that, then yes, you need to worry about it, and you need to get an
How much did you
accountant.
say?
About 600K, I believe it is,
Of net
USD.
worth.
Of net worth, yeah. 600K or 800K, something like that. We talked about it in the video that I did with the lawyer from Nexo, Mauricio.
Okay.
So watch that video. He explains it in that. And if that's actually you and your net worth is above that, make sure you contact a local lawyer. We recommend Nexo, and just talk to them about what you can do so that you don't have to pay too much tax on your wealth.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
While you're on that, I have another question related to tax. Somebody asked, because they're buying property out here, what is the capital gains tax in Colombia? And the answer to that is 15%.
Yep.
15%
But it's
capital gains.
it's not a fixed amount. I'm pretty sure that it's higher if you sell it within 2 years, no?
Yes. So it's higher
Yes.
within 2 years. After 2 years, 15%.
So what is within 2 years?
I don't know.
Like 20 maybe?
Let's see.
18?
Capital
It's definitely more. That's why flipping is not so common here, right?
Here, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So tax rate is 20% of the gain.
There we go.
Yeah.
Good guess.
20%. Yep. Could be. Okay. Yeah. So that's annoying, but it's something you got to deal with or prepare for when you're down here. Okay. So moving away from, things that you do before you get to Colombia, talking about things in Colombia, frequently asked questions is about visas. One of the biggest questions that we've had in our group chat for the masterclass is, what visa allows you to stay longer than 6 months in Colombia?
Mm-hmm. You want me to talk about that? I'm basically the visa expert these days.
Yes, sir. That's why.
So the way that you led into that was like, I'm going to ask this question and just don't say anything else. So AK has to answer it. Every time we talk about visas, that's exactly what you do. And I'm like, I know he's going to do this.
Yes.
And I do the same thing when it comes to real estate with you. I'm like, guys, we're going to tell you everything about real estate today. Andrew, take it away.
Yeah. I'm getting better at the visa stuff just because of our group. Everyone's like answering the questions. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I get it now.
Yeah. So you want to stay over 6 months. Here's the hack number one, right? So technically you can stay for a year in Colombia without any type of visa, because originally when you land in the country, you get 90 days stamped. And then before that 90 days ends, you can actually apply online. It takes like 5 minutes to do it through a portal online and extend that 90 days. So the maximum you can have is 180 days. Let's call it 6 months out of every calendar year. But that resets January 1st. Yeah. So you could technically come in July. I've done this twice, by the way. That's why I know it works. You can come in July, get your 90 days, extend another 90 days. That will take you through the end of the year. All you need to do is leave, even one day. I left for about a week because I was traveling anyway. I came back after January 1st and it reset. So I got 90 days again. Immigration stamped me in. Before that 90 days expired, I extended again. So then I got another 180 days. So it basically took me one whole year with no visa. So I've had 3 years in Colombia with only one visa applied for because I did that technique twice.
Wow. Okay.
So once that runs out, you want a visa, right? So there's 2 types of visas. One is called a visitor visa and one is called a migrant visa. Visitor visa includes things like student visa and digital nomad visa. Digital nomad visa is probably the most popular one that everyone's heard of and most people get, yeah? So these type of visas, even if you have them, usually they give it to you for 1 year, or they can give it, the digital nomad visa you'll basically always get for just 1 year, yeah? But the student visa, you get for the length of your course. So if you're doing a course of 2 years, they might give it to you for 2 years, right? That's how they usually decide how long they're going to give it to you. But these visas, even if you reapply 100 times and you're 150 years old and you've been on this visa for 100 years, you cannot get residency. So if someone wants to establish in Colombia and live here, it can be very annoying to keep doing this process every year over and over and over.
Yeah.
That's why they call them visitor visas. The other option is the migrant visa. pretty self-explanatory. You want to be a migrant to Colombia. And the best three of these for foreigners, number one is the real estate investor visa. Yeah. If you invest, as of today, over about 180K, let's say to be safe, you can get this visa, right? And after you've held this visa for 5 years, you can apply for residency. And make sure you watch my video coming out this Sunday, where I'm going to debunk some lies that people have been telling you on YouTube. I've seen some YouTubers saying that if you buy a property worth 100K in Medellin, you can get residency after 5 years. Completely false. It's been misleading many, many people. So I spent a lot of time making a full in-depth video and showing you exactly why that's untrue. So make sure you watch that this Sunday.
Yeah.
So that's the first visa, Andrew.
Yeah.
And everyone watching. The real estate investor visa. Many of our masterclass students are on that right now because they bought the property and then they have this visa, right? So that's one. Probably the easiest one if you have the cash, I'd say. The second one is what I'm on, marriage visa. If you marry a Colombian, you get a visa and it's 3 years. And after that 3 years, I can apply for residency.
Okay.
That's probably the quickest way to residency. Yeah?
Yeah.
And then the third one, which I see some people doing, is honestly not that common. Like, if you want to know which one is the most common, it's those two. The third one is a shareholder visa, where it's like you basically buy into a Colombian business and you have to invest at least 30,000 US dollars. And if you do that, then after 5 years, you can apply for the residency visa as well. So those are the most three common ones: the real estate investor visa, marriage visa, and shareholder visa.
Okay. So
does that answer your question?
Yeah. Raul says he
Any
got
questions
married
about that?
Raul said he got married in the U.S. Will need to remarry. Will I need to remarry in Colombia? She is dual citizen. No.
You don't have to remarry, but you have to do some different type of paperwork to calificar, like qualify your marriage here. And that's what John did. John, our masterclass student, he was married to a Colombian, but married in the US. So he just got the same visa that I got as well for 3 years, but he just had to go through some other steps, getting the marriage certificate from there, getting an authorized, stamped, blah, 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 blah. But contact a lawyer; they can help you.
Yeah. What about the retirement visa? Thanks, Sean, for reminding me.
Yes, I forgot about that one. But yes, that's another one. That's a retirement visa. You can get that too. You just have to show that. I think for that one, actually, you might have to pass some health tests and mental test.
Yeah,
mental health test as well. Yeah. Mental health test as well. And then you have to show that you're getting a certain amount of retirement income every single month. And then you can also apply for that visa. And I believe that's a migrant visa as well. So after the 5 years, it's either 3 or 5 years. I don't know exactly how long. But after that period, you can apply for residency through that as well.
Yeah. One more question about visas, and then we'll move on. Common question is, what is the requirement for the digital nomad visa? Like, how much money do you have to show that you make?
It's not much, around $1,000, I want to say. I have a video on digital nomad visa. Go and watch it. But it's about $1,000 to $1,500. Most of you having a job should be making more than that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Juan G. Arango asks, with retirement visa.
Yo, Juan, what's up, dude?
What's up,
I got
Juan
a shout out to Juan. He's like a soccer or football anchor or commentator, reporter. Yeah, really? yeah, awesome. Man. I've seen his Instagram. He's commentating on different football leagues and things like that.
No
Seems
way.
like he has a cool job. Yeah.
He asked, with the retirement visa, can you have a part-time job? Good question. I would say logically no, but I don't know.
I would say yeah. I would think not, but I don't know the exact answer. No.
Yeah. Okay. So that wraps up the visa questions, or the FAQs on the visa questions. The next question is something Sean Riley just brought up: health insurance in Colombia. He asks, where do I get info on health stuff? Well, you get info on health stuff right now, and also AK has a couple videos, one particularly where he interviewed a health insurance agent, and they go over all of in detail how to get health insurance out here and what that requires and what that brings, right, with it. What do you get covered?
Yeah, I actually have two videos. One of them is everything explained about Colombian health insurance, different plans, prices, things like that. Then the other video is what happens if you actually claim. So we go through like a hypothetical scenario of someone, I think I called him Bob or Jim, and he gets injured, and then every single step of the process of him claiming and then getting his everything paid for and getting the full health care. So
Yeah.
really good. Andrew, in terms of pricing, you have a plan
Yeah.
which is like $100 a month or something, right? US
Yeah,
dollars?
yeah, it's about $100. So the plan before the baby was about $100 a month. I was paying, yeah, it was about like $1,300 for the entire year.
Yeah.
For which is called the Suda is the biggest health insurance company out here, and they have like different packages for coverage. And their best one is called Global or the Global
Hmm.
Suda because it also covers you for a certain amount of money when you travel outside of Colombia. But
Okay.
when you're in Colombia, it's awesome. The health insurance system here is great if you are private, right? If you're paying for this private health care, if you're just getting the regular public health care, it can be kind of a nightmare because it's overcrowded. If you get hurt, you're going to have to wait in line a whole bunch. If you've got medical appointments to make, you might have to wait months until you see someone. But with the prepaid health insurance or the EPS that's prepaid here through Suda, I just go on the app and I make my appointments right there, and the most I have to wait is just a couple days. For example, I'm going for finally going to go get my knee checked out, which I thought I can recover, but I can't. There's something wrong with it, but I'm dreading to go look at what's wrong with it. But anyway, I
It's
all
called
those
being old.
yeah, it's called being old, but all those appointments, the knee doctor, the MRI, and all that, I just do it on the app, and it's really quickly done, and I'm seeing in just a couple days. So
Nice.
that being
I
said,
just
yeah,
I
go
just
ahead.
got one as well. Same with Sura, and it's called like Salud para Todos. Have you heard about
Yeah,
that
I
one?
have. Yeah,
It's only like $30 a month, dude.
yep, $30 a month, and you still
And I
get
get
like,
a lot of specialists and stuff like that I get to
mhm,
go see. It's like free dental cleaning, one per year. There's
yeah,
many things included and only third like what's that, $360 a year.
yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, that's incredible. But imagine a
Yeah.
lot of Colombians aren't able to afford that, so it's
True,
still kind of
true.
like a premium service.
Yeah. Well, EPS
For
is still better than US healthcare. So
Yeah, true, true.
I heard the other day, right, this story. Sorry, before, do you want to move on from health insurance? You got
Yeah,
another question prepared, but I saw
yeah. Go ahead, go ahead.
I saw something on Twitter, and this is for all you US people. Maybe you feel this as well, this pain. I saw someone commenting that his wife was sick, like feeling faint. So they took her to the emergency. They put an IV in her. She was fine in like 10 minutes. And then they gave her a bill of $15,000. And
She
then they're
probably
like,
went in an ambulance, huh?
something, yeah.
Yeah,
But
because the
then they
ambulance
said,
alone costs like 5,000 or something like that. It's
But then he said,
ridiculous.
I'm not paying that. That's a rip off." So they said, "All right, here's 3 grand instead." So it's just like they make the shit up. I don't know where. And there was a lot of people commenting on that post as well, saying like, "This happened to me. This happened to me." That's
Wow.
scary, man.
Yeah, that
What the hell,
sucks.
dude? Imagine just like going for 10 minutes and here's your 15 grand bill. No
Yeah,
wonder so many people are in debt over there, huh?
yeah. Sean Riley asks, "Oh, what about Visa insurance for Visa? Oh, that's different than health insurance when you get down here.
Yeah,
The insurance for to cover you for the visa purposes is different,
yeah,
and it's a lot cheaper, right?
yeah. Safety wing is what I recommend. It
Safety
covers.
wing.
There's like safety wing. There's like 5 things that you need to that your insurance needs to cover. It's like emergency, blah, blah, 5 things, right? And Safety Wing covers all those 5 things. And for someone, how old are you? Who's it? Sean asking the question?
Yeah, Sean Riley.
Sean, yeah. So for me, 35 years old, it's about $30 a month, 30 to $40 a month. So pretty cheap. And you get that for the whole year.
Yeah,
And that will get you the digital nomad visa or whatever visa you're going for, because insurance, if you didn't know, insurance is mandatory on those visas.
yeah,
Um, check the link in the description of my video, because I have the link there to get a quote for the safety wing as well.
yeah. Sean is 60. From your profile
Okay,
picture, I was going to say you look 30, but he's
that's
60.
good.
Looking good,
Nice.
looking good. Yeah, don't forget the massive copays. Yeah, true. The U.S. is just they're screwed with the health insurance out there. Okay,
Hmm.
so health stuff, we kind of covered that. Obviously,
Okay.
you can go in depth watching AK's videos on that. And also, obviously, when you get down here, you can really deal with that in person. We have a great health insurance person that our contact that can help you through that as well. She's helped the people in the master class, and she's great. Okay, so health insurance, we've covered that. Now, another question or other FAQs that we get down here is more lifestyle questions. Like the number one question that we get, and that we get now, not only through the master class, but also because we sell real estate now. We are real estate agents. We get the question as to what neighborhood should I buy my apartment in? Like, not only buy my apartment in, but what neighborhood should I mean, those are two separate questions. Where should I live, or where should I buy my apartment? And those are loaded questions, right?
Well, it depends why you're buying an apartment. If you're buying it to live in there and you just want lifestyle, then it depends where you want to live. For example, I would never buy and live in Poblado because I prefer to live in Laureles, right? But if I wanted to invest and get a place for just Airbnb, I wouldn't buy in Laureles. I'd buy in Provenza
Right.
because the return is much more. That's a tourist area and the rents go for much higher, right? So I guess it depends the goal that you're after with purchasing your property.
Yeah, that's
What do you think?
absolutely true. I think it depends on what you're going to be doing. If you're going to be living here, let's say part of the year, and then renting it out, and you want to at least break even, I mean, a place like El Poblado would do it. And you
Mhm.
don't have to be like near Parquilleras. You could be in like Patio Bonito, Astorga, Manila, even like Castropol. Like, there's so many other neighborhoods where you're close enough
Tesoro.
where it's, yeah, El Tesoro. You're close enough where it could be walking distance to those places, like 15-minute, 20-minute walking distance to Provenza or to the coffee shops and all that stuff. But you're far enough away where you're not like, it's not your face.
Mm.
Yet, when it comes to return on investment, it'll be higher than being in the up and coming areas like Laureles or maybe even Envigado,
Yeah,
just because they're so far from everything that's happening that the demand is in El Poblado. So I always ask people, well, if it's for investment purposes, then look at El Poblado. If it's for
absolutely.
lifestyle, look at what you want, what you like.
Yeah.
So it makes a big difference. So we always suggest when you come down to Colombia or to Medellin for that first month, just Airbnb it. Airbnb in the neighborhood that you think that you would like to live in, and stay there for maybe 2 weeks or a month, and figure out whether this is a good place where you'd like to actually purchase a property, or go the local route and rent long term, unfurnished, and furnish your own apartment, etc. Because sometimes what happens is people get down here and they'll go to a place and they thought they were going to like it a lot, and then they realize, like, wait, there's no co-working spots near here, or wait, I have to get on an Uber to go to my favorite cafe, or wait, there's no nightlife here and I actually like nightlife or whatever. I see that a lot. I've seen so you want to make sure that you don't overcommit right away, and discover the neighborhoods.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've seen that happen a lot too. People have, I've spoken to people and I said, yeah, I watched the videos and by everything you were saying, I thought I would like, Laureles because I wanted peace and quiet and whatever. But then when I got there, I realized, oh, I don't speak any Spanish. I can't speak to anyone. And now I feel lonely.
Yeah.
So I moved to Poblado. And conversely, many people have actually talked to me. They said, "Hey, I stayed in Poblado because I thought that's going to be a great spot and a lot happening, but it was just too much for me. I didn't like, so many tourist kind of things going on. So I moved out to like, Envigado, Laureles, where it's a bit more Colombian vibe."
Right. Yeah, yeah. So it just depends on your vibe. I love El Poblado. I've lived in 7 different neighborhoods, and I love living here because I do like um,
Walking
the
everywhere, right?
well, I like walking everywhere, and yeah, and I get out of the house a lot. Like
Hmm.
every day, I'm out and
Yeah.
about doing stuff. So I just like being able to walk everywhere, even though I have a car now. The car has
Hmm.
come in handy though for like showing properties and stuff out here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I if I if I didn't sell real estate out here, I wouldn't even need a car.
Yeah.
um,
On the topic of real estate, can you tell me, Andy, you've been showing around a few people
yeah,
in this last couple of months since we launched our real estate
a
agency.
few is an understatement. A lot.
So, first of all, how have you been finding that? Do you like it?
I do like it a lot. I do like showing properties. I like looking at new properties. I like meeting people. Really, it's like the people that are coming down are because they've watched our channels, and they've filled out our form, and they verified that they have the funds to buy the property, so they're serious investors and or just relocating and buying a property for themselves. So getting to know our own fans, I should say, or our followers, the people that watch us, that are coming down here and kind of taking the information that we show and running with it, and then being like and taking initiative and filling out the form to look for properties down here, and going through that process has been awesome. So the latest property that we sold was a property in Provenza. The property cost 200 and the investment, or the purchase price, was about 250,000 US dollars. It's a 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom. No, it's like 4.5 bathrooms. Sorry, yeah, 4-bedroom, 4.5 bathrooms, I believe. He's going to have to renovate it, not completely, not tearing up floors, but a lot of renovations. So total investment will be about 310,000 US dollars. That'll be the total investment. And according to Airbnb and AirDNA and all the research that we've done, he should be able to get around $4,000 a month for that 4-bedroom apartment. Or it's like a penthouse on the top floor, and it's a 2-story penthouse. So he should be able to get $4,000. So at a total investment of 310, even if his occupancy rate is 70%, at $4,000, his cap rate, if he's netting, let's say, $3,500 at the end of the day, his cap rate's still around 10% plus. And that's just being conservative and saying 70%. Like AirDNA says that El Poblado, the occupancy is 70%, or like 69%, whatever it is. But if you do good marketing, and you're a good host, and you have a 5-star reviews, for example, my occupancy rate's closer to 85%. So if he had 85%, it's definitely well over 10% return on investment. So that's what he was coming down here for. So to answer your question, do I like it? Yeah, I like it because of that. I want to help people do that. I don't want to sell them like the overpriced house and then they can't rent it, or they rent it and they're making 4% return on investment. They could stay in the United States for that reason, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, one great thing is that you've done it before.
Yeah, so yeah, I've been doing it
many times.
Yeah, I've been
You're
doing
not just
it.
like someone who sells property. You've actually done the whole process many times yourself, and you coach. You're kind of a coach as well, because you're not just showing people property, buy this and do something. You're telling them this is good because this, exactly how you explained there. That's what's so amazing about it. I think they're getting another investor rather than someone who's just, I'm a real estate agent now, because you don't actually need any qualifications.
Yeah, true.
And someone who's just selling you whatever to make commission. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, with that latest client, we saw 12 properties over the course of 2 days, on Friday and Saturday, because he was here for a weekend. We saw 12 properties, and he actually liked 3 of them, and the one that he ended up purchasing was the 3rd one that he liked. It wasn't even his top 2. But we analyzed it. We're like, look, this is why you should buy this one. Even though it's on a 4th floor with no elevator, and it's a 4-story apartment building, the upsides are that you're 1 block from Provenza. They're turning it from monthlies to dailies in December. So there were so many upsides that he's like, okay, yeah, this financially, this will make sense. He's not planning on living in it. So it's
okay. I have a question
pure
for you.
Investment. Yeah.
So think about this, right? By the way, guys, if you want any of your real estate or buying property questions answered in Medellin, then just drop it in the comments, the live chat, and we'll get to each of them. But Andrew, you said this client, I'm just trying not to say his name. This client number 1, he bought a property, right?
Yeah.
How much was the value of the property? Tell me again.
He bought it for about 250,000 US dollars.
Okay, $250,000, and he's going to put $60,000 in renovation
About,
into it
yeah.
to make it
About, yeah.
310,000.
Yeah.
If he didn't do any renovations and just rented it out as is, how much would he get monthly from that property?
I would say roughly a little, probably around $3,000 or less.
$3,000.
Yeah.
So he's putting in $60,000,
Yeah.
and he's going to make an extra $1,000
Per month. Yeah.
every month.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a good investment.
Yeah, it's definitely a good investment, because 4,000 is also being conservative. That's meaning
Hmm.
that's saying that like when the demand is low, he'll still be able to rent it for $4,000. When demand's
Yeah,
high, like in high seasons like December, August, even like March time, he can rent it for more than $4,000 per month.
yeah,
So yeah, it could definitely work that way, and it's just a matter of time, right?
yeah.
Because now we're going through that whole process of, fixing it up and getting it all done, which I'm documenting, and I'm going to be making a video of that whole process from what it looked like before when we bought it to what it looks like after when we're done. It's going to take about 6 months, and now it's up on Airbnb, and this is how much money it's renting for, etc. So it's pretty interesting how that happens.
Awesome. And the next thing I
Yeah.
was going to ask you is, out of all these people that you've been showing properties,
Yeah.
what are the most common questions that you get?
Yeah. You, sorry, can you ask that again?
As I
Somebody just
said,
pinged me.
obviously you're showing people all these properties, right? And spending a lot of times with these subscribers and clients, I guess.
Yeah.
What are the most common questions that they're asking you before they purchase a property or make a decision?
Yeah, so the biggest questions is like, okay, well, so what's the process for like when buying a property out here? What should I look out for if I'm going to buy a property out here so that I don't get, gringo priced, so that I don't get, scammed, etc. So, and it doesn't happen very often where people get gringo priced on properties, because it's pretty easy to actually, any time that you spend researching, you can see like, oh, this property is overpriced. And one of the
Hmm.
best ways to see whether a property is overpriced is checking how much it costs per square meter. If I always tell people that if you could get a property close to 5 million pesos per square meter, that's gold. That's golden,
Yeah, but
because
that's a full renovation job, right?
it could be. I mean, for
Hmm.
example, the one that this client just bought is not a full renovation, and it was about that.
Okay.
It's not. He just has to. He's not redoing floors or anything. He's just doing more aesthetic type of
Mm.
upgrades. Um,
Okay.
so that's one, is doing comps. We do them based on price per square meter, and the area. Knowing that brand new construction in El Poblado is going to cost you about 14 to 17 million per square meter. Having that in your mind, imagine getting something in that same neighborhood for 5 million per square meter, and maybe renovating it completely, and moving it up to like a 7 or 9 million per square meter because of your renovations, which is what's going to happen with that client once he renovates this. It's going to go
Yeah.
from 5 million per square meter. If he wants to resell it, it'll be closer to 7 million per square meter.
So
Uh,
we've been actually looking at a few properties lately. I know that we've uploaded onto our real estate channel, and a lot of these properties are coming in at about 7.5 million
yeah,
per square meter. And they're actually older places, maybe 20, 30 years old,
yeah,
but completely remodeled on the inside.
yeah.
Would that be a good price? About 7.5?
If it's turnkey, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
uh, so if it's turnkey, it could be a good price. You just got to check with AirDNA and do your research as to how much money you can make conservatively in the year, right? To see what your return on investment. And one of the principles, I guess, for investing for me is that if you could at least make 1% per month, you've got a good investment, right? That's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
12% return on investment at the end of the year.
Hmm.
That's net, right? So
Yeah.
so those are the type of things that I go through with the clients. Another big question that people ask when they're buying property out here is, how do I bring money over? I can't open up a Colombian bank account. How do I bring the money over? That's pretty easy. You bring it over by opening up a Colombian brokerage account with a company like Alianza or Acciones y Valores, which are brokerage firms in Colombia. You open up an account and then you wire yourself money from your account in the United States over to your brokerage account in Colombia, and then you have the money here under your name, under your account, and then you wire that money over to the Bancolombia or whatever, the local bank of the seller, obviously with your attorney helping you so that the money is registered through the national bank so that it's a registered investment. You never want to
Foreign investment.
do it yourself. I mean, you could do it yourself. It's just paperwork. But if you don't know what you're doing, and I've done it 5 times and I've always used an attorney. I don't want to just mess anything up. Yeah. So that's another big question. And finally, another huge question that people ask is, what do I do for reconstruction or for construction, right? For doing renovations. Like, they don't know anybody here. They have no contacts here. And I'll tell you one thing, finding a good contractor in Medellin is hard. And once you find a good one, you keep them, like, you hold on to them for dear life, especially if this is your business, because, for example, the guy that we found, when we did our first apartment, like 5 years ago or 6 years ago now, we went through 5 contractors until we found that guy. And he's been our go-to guy for the last 5 years on all of our projects, including the one that we just sold to our current client. And because we know how to work with him and we know he's good quality. He's not going to like cut corners. You're not going to like renovate something and then a drawer is going to fall, which has happened. So you definitely want that. So when people ask me that, it's like, okay, I've got the contact. And now being in this business or in this world, I have like 3 other contacts that are great contractors. So it's just a matter of vetting all of them and going with the one that you like, because really it comes down to how fast they can do it and how good they can do it at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. If you ever need a contractor, you need interior designer, you need property management, then you can just click the link in the description, fill out the details of what you're after, and then we'll be in touch, because now that we work in real estate, we have all these contacts. Right, Andy?
Yes, sir. That's right. We've got a couple questions here in the chat.
Yeah. What do we got?
Luis says, guys, I'll be going to Medellin in December. It'll be cool to connect. You can connect through the visitor's guide, right? That we have.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'll put that link in the description here in a minute.
But what is that, Andrew?
So the visitor's
What is the
guide.
visitor's guide?
So if you're just visiting, we've got the ultimate visitor's guide. It basically goes through everything that you need to know in order to make your short-term visit to Medellin, whether it's, a few days or a couple of months, a great visit. From our big recommendations on restaurants, rooftop bars, things to do in the city, cafes, co-working, dance lessons, our favorite things to do that are a little bit more of, we call it kind of like an insider guide, because we don't just go over only the Comuna 13, Guatapé, but also some of the things that we've done and locals do, that not most foreigners or travelers will do because they just don't know about them.
Probably not going to find out on Google. Yeah,
you're not going to find it on Google or on YouTube, really, because no one's really doing videos about this stuff. So that's called the Medellin Insider's Guide. You can get that, and then once you
it's actually called Medellin Made Easy.
Medellin Made Easy. It was called the Insider Guide at some point.
yeah.
Medellin
Made Easy. Yeah.
So it's
complete visitor's guide.
There it is. But the reason why I say you can connect with us through that, because once you get the Medellin Made Easy, we've got a private Facebook group where we all connect, and sometimes I'll even go to like the language exchanges or whatever, meet people there, etc. And it's super fun. It's super fun to meet people once they're here, for me at least. I know AK.
What else we got?
Okay, so we've got Raul says that he's remodeling his apartment for about $60,000. We replaced the windows for soundproof windows, and this is with furniture and appliances. Yeah. Nice. That sounds about right. 60,000. I'm assuming that your apartment is maybe like under 100 square meters, if you're doing all that. because usually it's about $400 per square meter to remodel to and redesign and furnish. That's what the breakdown that I have, or my rule of thumb is $400 per square meter. Jimmy says, what are some of the interesting business ideas that have to do with creating a website for real estate in Medellin? What are some of the interesting business ideas that have to do with creating a website for real estate in Medellin? I don't understand the question. Do you?
Me neither. No, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I
He
thought you were
wants
going to ask what the
to
interesting
make
business ideas were, but
he wants to make websites for real estate agencies, maybe?
maybe. Yeah, that could work.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably not.
Yeah.
They don't really do marketing and things over here like we do in other countries.
Oh, this is a good question.
Yeah.
Brun Mac asks, is the sole purpose of a brokerage account to buy property? Also, does having a brokerage account count towards having credit history in Colombia? The second part, no, I don't. In order to acquire credit in Colombia, uh, you have to pay into something that reports to credit bureaus, just like in the United States. When you pay credit cards or department store cards or your phone bill or whatever, they report to the credit bureaus. Here in Colombia, they have a very similar system with credit bureaus. So no, a brokerage account, I believe they don't report to credit bureaus, so it's not building your credit here.
Just while you're on that,
Yeah,
some people want to build credit because
yeah,
obviously to buy a property of 180K, $200,000, right? Like people are not going to have that cash. Not everyone has that cash. Some people actually want to build up credit here, get a loan. What's the best way? Give us your plan, the quickest way to get credit to get that type of loan over here in Colombia.
for a property.
For a property, yeah. So you have to put down 30%,
Hmm.
but then the bank will give you the other 70%. How can you get to that level where the bank will give you that as a foreigner?
Okay, so one of the best ways is through a blueprint project, investing into a property that hasn't been built yet, in an apartment building that hasn't been built yet. It's a blueprint project, and they're selling off.
Mm-hmm.
The constructor is selling off individual units.
Yep.
The way that they structure the deal is that you got to pay 30% down payment. So let's say, for round numbers purposes, that the total investment's $100,000. So you got to put $30,000 down. That $30,000 down payment is broken down in 24 months because it's going to take 2 years for them to build the building.
Yep.
So in 24 months, you're making monthly payments. Those monthly payments to amount to that $30,000 is getting reported to the credit bureaus. The constructor is reporting your payments so that you're building Colombian credit. After the 2 years, your credit should be good enough for you to apply for a loan with the with the bank that they're working together with. So let's say the constructor is Comebol or whatever, and the bank that they're working with is Bancolombia. At the end of the 2 years, you've paid your down payment. Now you apply with the Bancolombia agent that they have designated for them for that 70% loan, and you obviously get approved, and now you have a mortgage on that property that's brand new that you just got the keys for, and you got to keep making those mortgage payments. Usually it's a 15 or 20 year fixed rate mortgage. I think mortgage rates have gone down this year, down to 10%, which is very low for Colombia.
Wow, it was
Usually
like
it's
18, no?
18 at one point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So they have gone down. So blueprint project could be a good way to get into a property. And usually I recommend it if it's something that you want to live in, because it's still leveraging the bank at 10, 12, 14% doesn't make sense for investment purposes. Maybe just for future appreciation and value building. But if you're going to be living in it, or you plan on retiring here eventually and having a newer property with amenities and stuff like that, that's a great idea. And on top of that, if let's say you accelerate the payments, maybe you do have the money already. You have the $100,000 or the $200,000 to buy the property, but you want to build credit. You get into one of those deals. You pay, the 24 months, you get the property, and then you just pay the entire mortgage after a few months. That will build your credit as well. Or you sell the property. That will, those payments that have been reported have built your credit. That's exactly what I did. I never paid off the entire mortgage on the Blueprint project that I got into. I was paying monthly. I had a renter in there, a long-term renter. It was a Colombian family, and they were just paying the mortgage down for me. And then I sold it. I made some money, but now since that debt has been cleared, I get at least one call every 2 or 3 days from a bank asking me if I want another mortgage. It's crazy.
That's a good idea, actually. Pay
Yeah.
it for the 2 years, build up your credit, and then sell it immediately because it's probably going up value in that time as well, no?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so if someone wants to buy a Blueprint project,
Yeah.
if someone wants to build credit, they do it that way, right?
Yeah, they do it
What
that
if
way.
someone does not want to buy a new property because obviously they're more expensive per square meter? Is there any other way that someone can build up credit over 2 years and then buy an older place?
You can build credit in Colombia just like the same way you can build credit in the United States. You obviously would have to get hopefully a visa with a Colombian cedula, and you would have to start getting, your bank account, getting a credit card, getting your phone line, your cell phone line under your name, department store cards, using them, keeping, a 10% balance on there or whatever is recommended by the finance people. I usually keep mine at like 10% in the United States and here. I always have like a 10% balance or whatever to keep my credit score super high. But you could do that over the course of 2 years. One of the people that I interviewed on my channel, if you watch my interviews in my channel, his name was Steven. Steve, I interviewed Steve, and he's been here for 8 years. He got a Colombian mortgage, and he started getting credit even before he got a cedula. He got it through his RUT, his RUT number. So he got an RUT number, and that's kind of like a social security number of sorts.
Yeah,
and
just
with
got
that,
one.
yeah, with that RUT number, he was able to open up bank accounts. He was get credit cards, etc. He built up his credit. It took him about 4 years to build his credit up.
Okay.
But it was because he was slower. He didn't really have the intention of buying a property out here anyway. And then he finally bought a pretty nice one in Ciudad del Rio, which is a great area to live.
All that to say, Andrew, the point of my questions, many questions were that we get a lot of questions of people saying, hey, I don't have cash. How can I get an apartment? You can't, right?
Yeah. I mean, basically, if you don't have the cash and you're looking for a loan, you're kind of SOL here because you don't have credit here. One of the ways, though, if you do have a Colombian wife or Colombian husband, and they are Colombian citizens, and let's say they're living in the United States, for example, my sister, who is a Colombian citizen, she lives in the United States but has zero credit in Colombia, she would never qualify for a loan here in Colombia through a bank here. But Bancolombia, Da Vivienda, BBVA, Pichincha. There's a lot of Colombian banks that have offices in the United States where you can apply for a loan from the United States as long as you're a Colombian citizen. You can apply for a loan in the United States through that bank using your U.S. credit and get a mortgage loan for a Colombian apartment. I know because my sister just did that. She got approved for a loan for like $200,000 to buy an apartment in Colombia based on her U.S. credit through Bancolombia in the United States. So that's a little like secret right there that not many people know, but it requires you marrying a Colombian over there. Or
marrying your sister.
Being together. Yeah, go marry my sister.
All right. We got any other questions, or are we going to keep going with your list, Andy?
Yeah, we've got a couple questions here. So let me read some of these comments. You guys recommend any funny, informative Colombian influencers to follow on Facebook or Instagram to understand local social media jokes, memes? Yes, you probably won't find them funny, but because it doesn't translate well. But one of my favorite Colombian influencer is Mi Dios Te Pague. He's a friend of mine. Let me see. I'll put it in the chat here. Mi Dios Te Pague. Mi Dios Te Pague. He's awesome. His name is Camilo. But
I've seen him. He does funny skits and things like that, right?
We interviewed him for the Colombian podcast, but he does skits, and he's basically, this is paisa humor at its finest. But a
Is
lot
it
of
funny? Oh,
for
it's
me
not
it
really
is
funny
because
for
I
foreigners.
understand it. Yeah, but for
What
like a
about?
foreigner,
Mm.
it might not translate. They might be like, "Why is this funny?" This is his Instagram right here, Camilo Gaviria. He used to be an English teacher. I met him like 15 years ago when he was just a kid. He was just an English teacher, but he was trying to make like English videos, for Pisces to learn English out here in Spanish, etc. And then Facebook hit him up because they were expanding their market. He told us this in his interview. Facebook hit him up like 14 years ago and said, "Hey, we'll pay you $2,000 a month, but you have to meet a quota of videos that you've got to create every month."
Wow,
Yeah, so
amazing.
imagine they were paying him that much money back,
That's great.
14 years ago. So he made that his career. So that's his Instagram, but he also has a Facebook and I believe a YouTube. Sebastian says, "Soy boliviano americano." Oh, you're Bolivian
Yeah,
American.
nice.
Okay.
I
Kent
was in
Covington.
Bolivia a year ago.
Really?
Loved it. Yeah, really fun.
High elevations out there, huh?
Hmm. What did he
Uh,
say?
no, he didn't have a question. He just wanted
That's
to
all
tell
he
us
said. He just said,
that.
nice. Thanks, dude.
Oh, so going back to Brun Mac's question, which we didn't answer the first part, the brokerage account, a brokerage account in Colombia works not only to buy a property. Most foreigners get a brokerage account to buy a property, but you can use it to buy a car. You can use it to invest into the stock market here, and do some other type of investments here as well. So it has multiple functions.
Yeah.
Another question is by Kent Covington. What's up, Kent? How do you guys go about vetting blueprint projects to ensure that they are a good investment beyond the credit building value? The same way I vet any investment out here: neighborhood, comps. Obviously, I vet also the constructor. If it's a well-known constructor that's constructed a lot of buildings, and I know at least it's going to be finished. We don't have that problem in Medellin where buildings don't get constructed to the fullest because they get bought out and they get constructed. It's not like in some other cities of Colombia that are less touristy, or not even less touristy, but there's less money in there, that where you'll see half built buildings or whatever, and they just didn't get constructed. So yeah, vetting them that way is good. And yeah, just doing your research. If you need help with that, reach out, Kent.
Yeah. Let's continue with a couple more questions and then wrap it up here, Andy. What do you think?
Okay. Yeah. Last few questions.
Yeah.
Another question that we get a lot is, where should we live that's not in Medellin? because there are a lot of up and coming cities nearby, and a lot of people don't want to be in the city. The reason they fell in love with Medellin is because they love the greenery, they love the nature, they love the cities adjacent to the city. So what would be your favorites, AK? Let's say like the pueblos or the towns out here.
Like, does Rio Negro count?
Yeah, Rio Negro counts, of
Oh,
course.
yeah. I really like Rio Negro. I was actually talking to Carolina, my wife. We've talked about it for a long time, actually. In a couple of years, we actually want to get a place out there and move out there, mainly because right now in Medellin, the weather is beautiful because it's sunny, right? But it's bloody hot every day, like 30 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
Like what's that, 85 or whatever in Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
So really, really hot. But if you go to Rio Negro, it's a few degrees, maybe like 5 degrees cooler. So it's a perfect like 25 all day, right? And on top of that, it's very quiet. Like where I live in Laureles, it's like noisy all the time,
True.
like a lot of things to do, but very noisy. Out there, like sometimes I miss, not having to go in the elevator, going all the way down, walk and all crazy stuff going on.
Yeah.
I rather miss, like, I grew up in a house in Melbourne. I just open my front door, there's a nice garden, birds chirping. So things like that would be perfect for Rio Negro. I really like
Yeah.
that. And also it's some really nice apartments and things out there too.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Plus there's restaurants and all that. But yeah, that would probably be my favorite one. What about you?
Yeah, and it's close enough to Medellin too. I mean, it's like 20 minutes with the tunnel.
20 minutes.
You're in
and
the
it's
city.
like, so it's basically at the airport. So for the amount of traveling that we do, we just 5 minutes on a plane, see you later.
Yeah, Yeah, I like Rio Negro a lot too.
Hmm.
I would say my favorite. Here, let me open up the map real quick.
Yeah. And would you ever move out there, or you love your
No,
lifestyle
I
out
would
there
have
in
a
Manila?
finca. Like I
Okay.
like
Part
having my
time.
city house, and I would want my
Yeah.
finca as well.
Okay.
So my favorites in El Oriente mostly. Um, I really love. I was just there showing a property. So obviously Rio Negro is one of them, but you've got, where is this at? El Retiro. I loved El Retiro. El Retiro is this little town. It's equidistant, I believe, to Rio Negro.
Yeah.
Actually, no, Rio Negro is a little farther out.
They
But
make a lot of furniture there.
yeah, El Retiro is awesome. I love that
Nice
little
place.
town.
Yeah.
There's so many like little gated kind of communities with fincas in them
Hmm.
that they call parcelaciones. I don't know what you would call that in Spanish or in English, but
Like
there's
land. That's land,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, it's like big land areas
Yeah. A lot,
that yeah, big
basically.
lots, but yeah,
Yeah. Big lots.
but
Yeah.
there's like a lot of houses there, little gated communities. I love El Retiro. I think it's one of the biggest up and coming neighborhoods, or I guess cities in the vicinity, in the Medellin vicinity. I would highly
Hmm.
recommend you guys check out El Retiro because right now you could buy a property there, like you could buy an apartment there for like $150,000, like a nice one in like, where like you're saying, you open up the door and there's like birds chirping, super
Yeah.
quiet. It's cooler than Medellin. You've got little rivers and stuff going by there, or you could buy a big finca, for like $400,000 or whatever, or three
Yeah.
hundred thousand dollars, and have like a bunch of land and have a finca.
Hmm.
So I highly recommend that if you are rich and you want to live the real Colombian rich lifestyle. We're talking about million, 2 million, $3 million fincas. Llano Grande. Llano Grande is where the rich people have their fincas, and that's like the
Hmm.
real gated communities there. You talk about like, ex presidents and stuff have like fincas out
Yeah.
there.
And there's still a lot to do out there. Like obviously not as much as in, Laureles or Poblado, but there's, strip malls out there with many
Yeah,
restaurants and
restaurants, etc.
cafes and things like that. So you still depends on what you want,
And you're
I guess.
close
Depends
enough
on what you want.
to Medellin
You
too.
can you can drive in, yeah.
Yeah,
We
you can
just got a
drive in.
question. We
Yeah.
just got a question here from Oppa. Said, how can I know a realtor who can speak English in Colombia? Can you just let him know how to fill out our form?
Uh, which form? Do you have it?
Our real estate form. It's in the link in the description.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Or you
so
can drop it.
just click
Or you
on
can.
yeah. So I'll put it.
Yeah, I'll send it to you on WhatsApp.
I have it here.
You got it?
Yeah. Yeah, but isn't
Medellin
it on your
Masterclass doc.
chat?
Yeah, but I'm like logged into our real estate channel.
Duh.
Yeah. MedellinMasterclass.com/real estate invest. I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah. So
Andrew?
if you guys want to work with us and you want to see properties, etc., I'm gonna drop it in my channel and also on AK's channel, in the chat here, and also I'll put it on AK's channel description here, in the chat. While I do this, guys, if you're watching, please hit the like button. We're begging for likes here. No, hit the like button. It helps us grow. Okay, here's AK's channel. It's a link to a form, and that form will ask you questions like, how big do you want the apartment, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, etc. When you're coming down to Colombia, which is really important. And then once we do that, we will create a list of properties for you, and then once you're down here in Medellin, we will.
You actually get on a Zoom call
show
with
to you.
them, don't you?
Yeah, I get on a Zoom call just to ask you more questions because that's how we do it.
Awesome.
Okay, we got one more question from.
All right, let's do it.
From
Lucky
Dan.
last.
Dan Hooper asks.
Make it a good one.
List of properties for you.
Okay, there we go. How will $60,000 US go living in Medellin with renting an Airbnb? I'm in Mexico thinking to come. Thanks to both of you for channels from New Zealand. A
Nice.
Kiwi. Definitely worried
Neighbors.
about safety. Haven't been to South America. Okay, so that's a two-part question.
Two
So
part question. First
60,000 US
question, you said,
dollars.
what's that like
Is that
a
yearly?
month? A month?
A month. A month. Yeah, you'll need a little bit
Imagine
more than $60,000 per month, bro. No, I'm just kidding.
$60,000 a year is what, like $4,000 $5,000 a month.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
that's amazing. $5,000 a
Yeah.
month. You're making what lawyers and doctors make here.
That's both our budgets
Combined.
combined plus more.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a
Five
really
thousand
nice
dollars
budget.
is good, but per year, it's very good. You'll be like in the, you know,
1%.
1% of Colombians, or maybe not one, but a very very high echelon of people that make that kind of
Mm.
money. Because $5,000 in Colombian pesos, that's 20 million pesos per month. 20 million pesos per month. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Lawyers, doctors, bankers. That's what they make.
20
Okay.
times minimum wage.
Yeah, and he's worried about safety. You should be worried about safety. I mean, worry about it enough to have your wits about you. But if you come down, Airbnb it, come down to El Poblado, get your feet wet, and then discover the other city, the other neighborhoods, you'll be fine. Just don't go picking up hookers and bringing them to your house, literally. Okay, and last one. Is there separate tax for international homeowners? No. No. Once you become a tax resident in Colombia, you have to show your worldwide income. So if you're getting income from the United States from homeowners, homes that you own in the United States, you've got to show that income in Colombia when you declare taxes here. Obviously, you want to work with a tax attorney so that there's no double taxation, because there shouldn't be.
Yep.
But you do have to declare. Okay. We've got another complicated question, but I don't know if you want to do this one. What about renting an apartment in Medellin? What are the requirements for an extranjero, for a foreigner? Renting an apartment.
You got a computer? Go to Airbnb.com, rent an apartment, done.
That's the easiest way. So number one, easiest way to rent, well, and we always suggest before you even get here, just get an Airbnb, because you won't get scammed.
Yep.
Other than that, the requirements to rent through an agency, you're going to have a local ID. You're going to have proof of income. You're
They'll ask you for deposit, probably.
A deposit, maybe, yeah, maybe.
Well, they'll ask you for the deposit, whether or not you pay
it or not. Yeah, legally they're not supposed to.
But they will ask you for sure.
Yeah, they'll. Obviously, you'll have to have a bank account here.
Fiador.
And then you'll have to have a cosigner. That cosigner should meet a certain requirement of how much money they make per month compared to the rent. And on top of that, they have to own property in Colombia. Those are the requirements for locals and anybody that wants to rent an apartment through an agency, through a Colombian agency. You'll get way better deals. It's going to be unfurnished apartments. I've seen apartments I've literally rented apartments in El Poblado for under $800, $600 per month, 2-bedroom apartments here right in El Poblado. But we went through the agency, we went through the local route. We had to go through all of that in order to get that. So how does a foreigner do it? Either Airbnb or going with a company that works with foreigners. And what they do is they charge you like an upfront cost, like 3 months up front or 6 months up front, kind of as a safety deposit.
Security.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll rent to you, and then it's going to be more expensive than the local route because they will probably be furnished.
Yeah.
If it's unfurnished, they'll be a little less expensive, but still you're paying a little bit of a premium because they're taking a risk on you. You're not going through the system. You're not getting a co-signer that if you default, they can go after. It's
yeah.
So you're
Although
you're paying
that
for
being said,
Yeah.
I actually was doing this exercise last week for a different business venture that I'm trying to do, and I found a place in Patio Bonito, Poblado, right? Really nice neighborhood.
Yeah.
$650 a month, furnished.
Oh, really? Holy shit.
Yeah. And another place, I think it was in Manila, which was 600 unfurnished, as you said. I
Yeah.
think I found 3 of them all in Poblado for about that price.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's possible. It's out here. That's why you just
You got to search.
got to come down here and search and either hire a personal assistant to do it for you or do it yourself. Either way, you'll figure it out. And if you need
Yeah.
help, join the masterclass.
We'll find
Yeah.
it for you.
Yeah. By
Right.
the way, we do have a free webinar, which is about an
Yes.
hour long about the
Mhm.
Medellin masterclass. The link is in the description to the free webinar. All you got to do is click there. It's a free webinar. You take it, learn
What's the
everything.
webinar about, Andrew?
Basically, everything that you need to know about moving to Medellin. It's kind of an in-depth mini masterclass, and it's a breakdown also of what we teach in the masterclass to see if it's something that's going to be a good fit for you. Because not everybody, we don't work with everybody because we have an exclusive group. So it's something worthwhile if you are planning an extended stay or a move to Medellin to check out.
Yeah.
It's a free webinar on our. I'll put it in the description here on my channel.
And if you watch it till the end, there's a special. Actually, I won't ruin it. Start watching it, and then you'll see what I mean. There's a special surprise in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's actually what you'll need to do, just to make it very clear. You click this link, you put in your email address, and then you select a time that you want to start the webinar, right? Once you start the webinar, you need to watch it in full. It's about 90 minutes because you can't go forward, you can't go back because it is a webinar, right? So make sure you have about 90 minutes ready, and then you can go on and you can select the time. They start every 15 minutes. So the next one would be starting at 8:45. The one after that would be 9, obviously every 15 minutes. So make sure you got 90 minutes spare. Click it and watch it. It's basically the 9-step framework that we use to help people move to Medellin. And that's what we've used to help those, I think Andrew said 35 people that we helped move in the last
like 40
year.
now.
40, yeah, sorry, 40 in the last year. We actually 12 months
we're like
exact
40
year
now.
in October
Yeah.
that we started the masterclass. It's our exact framework that we use, and you're going to learn about it, plus some of the stories of the people that have already moved here in this webinar. So check it out. It's free, nothing to lose.
Hey, John
And
Johnson.
there's a little gift in there as well.
Yeah, there's a little gift at the end, so watch it till the end. John Johnson just said, met this guy last Wednesday. Very professional and experienced. Grateful to have met you. John Johnson,
Which
you're
guy?
awesome. John Johnson is...
You?
I met him at the real estate. There's a secret real estate investor meetup in the city that that I go to every week, basically. And yesterday, or last Wednesday, I met John Johnson there, who's also a real estate investor
Awesome.
from the UK.
That's his real name?
Yeah, that's his name. That's his real name. That's why I remembered. John Johnson. It's
Wow.
an easy name to remember. What's up, John? Glendy says, I brought 2 pets through Rio Negro. Super easy. Okay. Do you mean through the airport, I'm assuming? Okay, so it's not hard. All right, so guys, that's it for today. We're going to try to do one of these another time. I don't know when. I was going to try to say a date, but you're going to be traveling
I got to figure out the timing
across the
because
world.
it's basically, I'm in Asia. It's the complete different time zone. I think like when I'm about to go to bed, you're waking up. It's like kind of weird. So we have to look at that.
Yeah, so we'll have to figure that out. But we will be live again. Regardless, I will be live on my channel next week, as I am every week, with a different topic about living in Medellin, informing you guys on the beautiful life that we've created here. Anything else, AK?
No, all I can say is, guys, check out the webinar. And also, if you're thinking of coming down to Medellin to buy some property, then fill out the form that's in the description of this video. And then we'll get your answers. And then Andrew will contact you and chat more about how we can help you. Yeah?
Yep.
Right, Andrew?
Yes, sir.
Brilliant. So that's a wrap. Good session today. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thanks for all your questions. Hopefully, we've helped you a bit today and answered some of the questions that you had about moving to Medellin. And we'll see you next time. Yeah.
Yes, sir.